My girlfriend suggested an open relationship to help us grow, so I decided to kick her out. I thought my girlfriend, Lisa, and I had a solid relationship, built on trust, commitment, and genuine love. We had been together for 3 years, shared an apartment, and even talked about a future together. Everything seemed perfect, until one night, she hit me with something I never expected. We were sitting on the couch after dinner when she turned to me and said, "I have been thinking. Maybe we should try an open relationship. I really think it could help us grow." At first, I laughed, thinking she was joking, but her serious expression sent a chill down my spine. "Wait, you are serious?" I asked. She nodded. "It would make us stronger. More experience, more connection, more trust." My stomach dropped. I did not know it at the time, but that conversation would change everything. Lisa and I had been together for 3 years, and for the most part, our relationship seemed strong. We met at a friend's housewarming party, where she immediately caught my eye with her infectious laughter and bright, confident personality. She had this way of making every conversation exciting, and I was drawn to her from the start. Our relationship progressed quickly. Within 6 months, we had moved in together, and everything felt effortless. We loved spending time together, had similar hobbies, and rarely argued. I thought we were completely in sync, both emotionally and physically. She often talked about the future, marriage, kids, even where we would buy our first house. That level of commitment made me feel secure. I never once suspected she wanted anything different from what we had. However, looking back, I now realize there were small signs I overlooked. Lisa had always been an extrovert. She loved meeting new people and thrived in social settings. I admired that about her, even though I was more introverted. I figured our differences balanced each other out. Her job in marketing kept her constantly interacting with clients, attending networking events, and maintaining a vibrant social life. She often reassured me that these were just work obligations, and I trusted her completely. I was never the jealous type. I had no reason to be. Lisa never gave me a reason to doubt her. If she had drinks with colleagues, I never questioned it. If she mentioned meeting new people, I did not overthink it. But now, thinking back, I remember the nights she came home later than usual. I remember how her phone, once casually left on the coffee table, was suddenly always face down. The notifications she used to read out loud became private glances followed by quick replies. Still, I never suspected anything. I was happy, and I thought she was too. Then, she blindsided me with her so-called solution to help us grow. And that was when everything started unraveling. It all started on a quiet Sunday evening. Lisa and I had just finished dinner, and we were lounging on the couch watching one of our favorite shows. She had been oddly quiet the entire evening, picking at her food and glancing at me as if she had something on her mind. At first, I assumed she was just tired from work. But as the episode played, I noticed she was barely paying attention. Instead, she kept fidgeting with the hem of her sweater, her legs tucked beneath her. "Are you okay?" I finally asked, muting the TV. She took a deep breath and turned to face me. "I have been thinking about something," she started, her voice unnaturally calm, "and I hope you will be open-minded about it." That alone set off alarm bells in my head. I nodded, bracing myself. "Okay, what is it?" She bit her lip, choosing her words carefully. "I have been doing a lot of research about relationships, and I came across something that really resonated with me." I raised an eyebrow, waiting. "I think we should try an open relationship," she finally blurted out, watching me closely for my reaction. The words hung in the air like a bomb that had just been dropped in the middle of the room. For a moment, I was too stunned to speak. I could not have heard her correctly. Open relationship? After 3 years of being together, after planning a future, after all the promises we had made. She wanted to throw this at me? "What?" was all I managed to say. Lisa let out a nervous chuckle. "Babe, listen, I have been reading about this, and a lot of couples say it actually strengthens their relationship. It helps them grow and—" I cut her off with a sharp laugh, but there was no humor in it. "Strengthens the relationship? Lisa, how exactly does sleeping with other people help us grow?" She sighed, as if I was the one being unreasonable. "It is not just about sleeping with other people," she insisted. "It is about experiencing more, expanding our understanding of love. Being with one person for your entire life is limiting." There it was, the excuse. I stared at her, my stomach twisting. "So, what you are saying is I am not enough for you?" Her eyes widened. "No, that is not what I am saying at all. I love you, I adore you, but we have been together for so long. I just think this could add excitement to our lives. It is about exploration, not replacing each other." I ran a hand through my hair, my mind racing. This was not coming out of nowhere. She had already made up her mind. I leaned back against the couch, studying her. "Is there someone specific you are thinking about seeing?" That was when she hesitated. And in that single second, I knew. My stomach dropped. My hands clenched into fists. She had already crossed the line. Her voice wavered. I mean, not exactly, but I have met people who have made me question things. There it was. The confession without saying it outright. I let out a bitter chuckle. Right? So, you want my permission to explore something you have already started thinking about. Maybe even started doing. Her face paled. That is not fair. No, what is not fair is being blindsided by this. I snapped. You know damn well this is not something I would ever agree to. If you wanted an open relationship, you should have said so at the beginning. But you waited 3 years to drop this on me? Lisa's expression hardened. You are being dramatic. Am I? I shot back. Or are you just trying to justify what you have already done? She crossed her arms. I have not done anything. I stared at her, then made my decision. I was done. Lisa thought she could manipulate me into agreeing to this so she could have her cake and eat it too. She wanted to keep me as her safety net while she explored other people. Not a chance. I exhaled slowly, my heart pounding, but my mind was clearer than it had been in days. If this is what you want, then you should do it, I said, standing up. She blinked, confused. Wait, what? You want to experience being with other people? Fine. You are free to do whatever you want. I looked her dead in the eye. But not while you are with me. Lisa shot up from the couch. What are you saying? I am saying we are done, I said, my voice firm. If this is what you want, you can have it. But not in this relationship. I am not going to sit here and pretend this is something I can tolerate. Her face twisted with panic. You are breaking up with me over this? I laughed coldly. Lisa, you ended this relationship the moment you decided you wanted someone else. I am just making it official. She reached for my arm, but I pulled away. Babe, please. I did not mean for it to come out like this. We can talk about it. No, Lisa, I interrupted. We cannot. I walked toward the bedroom, grabbed a duffel bag, and started packing my essentials. My mind was already made up. There was nothing left to say. Lisa followed me, her voice rising in desperation. You are seriously leaving? Just like that. I zipped up my bag and slung it over my shoulder. Just like that. And with that I walked out. Lisa wanted to explore? Well, she could do it without me. The days after I left were a blur of confusion and rage. Lisa tried reaching out to me countless times, her text messages growing more frantic as the days passed. But I did not respond. I could not bring myself to even look at her messages. My mind was clouded with a mixture of anger and hurt, but also relief. I had known something was off for a while, but I had never suspected it would reach this point. That night, when I left her, I had no idea what she was doing or who she was seeing. But what I did know was that I could not be part of it. Lisa did not waste any time moving on. By the 3rd day after our breakup, she had already posted a picture with a guy on her social media. It was a casual photo, but it was clear they were close. She was smiling at him in a way that I had not seen her smile at me in months. It stung. But I told myself I had made the right decision. The real shock came when I discovered the truth about who that guy was. It happened one evening when I decided to grab a drink with my best friend, Nick. He had been with me throughout the entire ordeal, offering support and keeping me grounded. Man, I know it has been rough, Nick said, stirring his drink. But you did the right thing. Lisa was clearly not committed. I just can't believe it all happened so fast, I admitted, rubbing my forehead. She was practically already seeing this guy before I even left. Nick's expression darkened. What guy? I pulled out my phone and showed him the picture Lisa had posted. This guy. I guess they are hanging out now. Nick's face went pale. He stared at the picture for a moment before looking back at me, his eyes wide. Wait. That is Sean. I know him. I froze. Sean? Who is he? He is the guy she was texting in the weeks leading up to your breakup, Nick explained slowly. I saw them at that party a few weeks ago. They were acting pretty cozy. I could not believe it. My chest tightened as Nick's words sank in. So, you are telling me she was already involved with him when she brought up the open relationship? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Nick nodded gravely. Yeah, man. It looks like it. I am sorry you had to find out this way. I sat back, stunned. All this time, I had thought she was just trying to find a way to experiment. But now, it seemed like it had been more calculated than that. Lisa had already been involved with Sean long before I left. I scrolled through her social media account, trying to make sense of it all. There were more pictures of them together, each one more intimate than the last. My hands trembled as I saw the captions she wrote, filled with affection and admiration for him. But the worst part, the part that made my stomach churn with anger, the posts were dated just a few days after we had broken up. She had clearly been seeing him while we were still together. Man, I am so sorry, Nick said quietly, placing a hand on my shoulder. She was never truly yours. I did not say anything. What was there to say? I had been played, lied to, and manipulated. But this time, there would be no coming back. I was done. The next few days were a blur of anger and confusion. I spent most of my time at work, keeping myself occupied, so I did not have to think about what had happened. But eventually, the realization hit me like a freight train. Lisa had been stringing me along. She had wanted the best of both worlds. She wanted to keep me around while exploring someone else. I started to feel disgusted by the thought of her. But more than that, I felt humiliated. I had given her everything. My trust, my time, my heart, and she had thrown it all away for someone else. I knew I had to act, but I did not know how. I had already cut her out of my life, but I could not let her walk away unscathed, not after what she had done to me. I decided to take matters into my own hands. I reached out to Sean's wife, Angela. I had heard her name mentioned a few times by Lisa, and I knew she was married to the guy I had seen in the picture with Lisa. I figured she deserved to know the truth. I was nervous at first, not knowing how Angela would react, but I knew I had to do this. I sent her a direct message on Facebook, explaining everything. I told her about the open relationship Lisa had proposed and how I had found out about her affair with Sean. I provided screenshots of the pictures and text messages I had seen. I gave her all the details. Her response came just hours later. "Thank you for telling me," she wrote. "I had suspected something was going on, but I never had proof." I felt a strange sense of relief knowing I had given her the truth. But the real shock came when I found out the impact it had on Lisa. The next day, she showed up at my apartment, furious. She knocked on the door with such force that I thought she might break it down. "You told her?" she yelled as soon as I opened the door. "How could you? I am your ex. You have no right to do that." I stood there, calm and composed, as she raged at me. "I had every right to, Lisa. You had no problem with betraying me. I just made sure the person you hurt knew the truth." Her face turned beet red, and she stomped her foot like a child throwing a tantrum. "You ruined my life. I was moving on. I was happy." I crossed my arms. "You do not get to play the victim here. You made your choices. Now you have to live with the consequences." Lisa opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. She was speechless. I stepped back and closed the door, shutting her out of my life for good. And just like that, Lisa's world came crashing down. The days after the confrontation were the hardest yet. Lisa did not take kindly to being exposed. She tried every method she could to salvage her reputation, but the damage had already been done. She contacted me multiple times, trying to convince me to take everything back, telling me that I was overreacting. But I refused to respond. I had made my choice, and I was determined to stick with it. News of her affair spread quickly. It did not take long for Sean's wife, Angela, to confront him. I heard from mutual friends that the situation caused a massive rift between them. Angela was devastated, but more than that, she was angry. I had done what she could not, and in doing so, I had changed the course of her marriage. While I did not want to be the one to expose the truth, I knew it was the right thing to do. But even with everything that had unfolded, I could not shake the feeling of betrayal. I had spent years with Lisa, building a life together, only for her to destroy it in the blink of an eye. The anger I felt was overwhelming, and I found myself constantly replaying the moments when she had told me she wanted an open relationship. I felt like a fool for ever trusting her. Lisa's career, which she had worked so hard to build, began to suffer as well. She had always been known as the reliable, hardworking woman at her job, but once the news broke, everything changed. People began to question her professionalism, her integrity, and her relationship with Sean only seemed to worsen. Angela, having discovered everything, filed for divorce, and that was the end of their affair. Lisa was now alone, left to pick up the pieces of her shattered life. One day, about a month after everything had settled, I received a text from Lisa. It was short, almost apologetic, but there was no mistaking the guilt in her words. "I am sorry for everything. I was selfish and I regret what I did. I never should have asked you to open up the relationship. I ruined everything." Took me a while to process the message. I had spent so many nights stewing in anger and disappointment that I had almost forgotten the reason I had ended things in the first place. But deep down, I knew that her apology came too late. She had made her choices, and now she had to live with them. I replied with a simple message, "I hope you learn from this." And just like that, the chapter with Lisa ended. I threw myself into my work and my personal life, focusing on rebuilding what I had lost. I started taking care of myself in ways I had neglected for years. I exercised, ate well, and began to rediscover the hobbies and interests I had abandoned when I had been with Lisa. I even started going out with friends more often, rekindling relationships that had fallen to the wayside. Months passed, and I began to feel whole again. But the real healing came when I met someone new. Her name was Emma. We had met through mutual friends at a small gathering, and I immediately felt a connection. She was kind, understanding, And, most importantly, she respected my boundaries. We took things slow, not rushing into anything too fast. But as time went on, I realized I had never been happier. Emma respected me in a way that Lisa never had, and I began to see what a healthy relationship could truly look like. I was no longer tied to the past, no longer haunted by Lisa's betrayal. In the end, I was able to let go of the bitterness and resentment that had consumed me. I realized that I had made the right decision by ending things with Lisa. I had no regrets. Looking back, I see that my choice to kick Lisa out was not just about her betrayal. It was about reclaiming my own life, my own happiness. It was about choosing to grow from the pain instead of letting it define me. As for Lisa, she eventually reached out one last time, but by then, I had moved on. She had become a distant memory, a painful chapter that had led to a brighter future. I had learned the hard way that some relationships are not meant to last, and sometimes walking away is the best thing you can do for yourself. If you enjoyed the story and want to hear more, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and press the bell icon so you do not miss any of our future content.